Hello everyone, I am Tacit and welcome to the Gems of War Campaign 12 Week 9 Day 4. So today, of course, we still have the Journey event going on. If not mistaken, did we actually claim the final reward for that yesterday? I can't remember. But if your guild hasn't finished it, definitely make sure to do so. You get two big ol' deed books at the end, as well as some Imperial along the way. 3 Imperial, 6 purple deeds, and a bunch of other loot, so definitely worth it, if nothing else, for the deed books at the end. Purple is by far the most useful deed book in the entire game, so definitely a lot of great value there. And you might already be there because your guild went for a lot of 20,000s. Keep in mind, if you are going for that achievement, there is an achievement in the game for getting 20,000 total points for this event. It's actually, I believe, the second most unachieved achievement in the game, only behind that of the new Dragon Gnome one, which I still haven't seen a single one, though we only have it because we cheesed it, because you're allowed to fight someone in PvP who has it set on defend for it to count. But we still have seen 0 actual Dragonite Gnomes in the wild. Obviously, we'll probably see 10 very easily once a Vault event comes around, but this number is going to stay low until then. So, I'm surprised this one's actually so low. This only requires having a level 200 faction. Not all of them, just one. I'm actually surprised that's that low. I know a lot of newer players wouldn't go for this too early, but it's not too hard to get a level 200 faction if you focus it down, especially later in the game. But anyways, yeah, so definitely make sure if you're looking for it. It does cost like 2,000 to 3,000 gems or so. I can't remember the exact amount. Also depends if you lose some battles and other stuff, but for the most part, it's like around 2,300, 2,800, I believe, gems to end up getting this. And it is available this week for the 4th time ever, as this is the 4th Journey event. Aside from that, of course, we do have a class event going on for Orbweaver. Orbweaver theoretically got buffed. Similar to how Weaver got buffed without getting buffed, this also got buffed recently without getting buffed. The main reason being, one premise with Orbweaver, and one of the reasons why it's actually normally used, other than the fact that it is stealthy, is it has an interesting trait. It has a familiar, a 35% chance to summon a giant spider when it takes damage. This in the past was nerfed from 50% to 35%, which you know is what it is now, about a 1 in 3 chance. It doesn't feel like it, but it's about a slightly over a 1 in 3 chance. But what they ended up doing is Giant Spider now has that one web gem that it creates. So you'll be able to go get a 25% chance to get a single purple gem onto the board at the beginning of every single one of your turns. And this is more likely to help you than not help you. He did not lose his mana link, so he still has his +1 purple, which is one of the main reasons why he was used to begin with. And now you'll also be able to get some free purple when you're using Giant Spider. So Giant Spider, being slightly better, has technically made Orbweaver slightly better. As an Orbweaver normally on its own would have no way to web, however, now it does, since the Giant Spider theoretically does have a small chance of webbing the opposing team. It can also web your own team, but more often than not, it's going to web the enemy team. But it's most notably used with Stealthy, into Rising Shadows, into Life and Death Weavers, probably the most common combination. It is Stealthy, so it can't be targeted, free auto-win if it triggers, and has that summon, which is the other main reason it gets used, so you can keep resummoning in the first slot. And Life and Death just helps keep it alive. A couple other ways that you can kind of structure it as well to make it work, but that's the general premise. So today, I'm also just going to be doing the Clash Trials real quick, get our free 25 gems, and probably opening a bunch of Vault Keys. Might go for 100. We haven't been doing as big of an opening lately, but we still have the orb count out down there, and I do want to get a nice big orb. We got a power orb yesterday, which means we pretty much got almost nothing of value yesterday. Like, if all those super rare ones, like we got a Orb of Glory, I think a single one, but of all the orbs we got, we only got a pretty much a useless power orb and a slightly useful Orb of Glory, and that was pretty much it. So hopefully we'll get a little bit luckier today when we go through that. Oh wait, we're getting the oh yeah, next week. Oh yeah, we're getting a lot of things next week. If you thought we had quite a few things this week, though, the later part of this week's pretty tame. Like tomorrow and this weekend, we don't really have too much going on for Gems of War. But yeah, next week, it's right around the corner. Look at that. We got the Lunar New Year event. We're getting a bunch of bunny stuff and a Lapina. We're getting the 2023 Lunar New Year pet as well on Wednesday. Technically, there's 3 of them, oddly enough. We get 2 from the 2-week-long event, and we get 1 on the standard Wednesday one. This being the standard one that comes out every year, and those 2 other ones being from the new event system that they end up adding, where you can end up getting it all for free, pretty much with like, what, 700 gems, 800 gems? It's pretty cheap to end up getting every loot. It's actually even less than that. It's like 400 or 500, maybe even slightly less than that if you're not going for the power orb. I still go for the power orb because 300 gems for a power orb is like super cheap. But Power Orb's value has gone way down in recent time. However, still somewhat worth it. Also, why am I going in here? I already have a team built. Of course, on Tuesday, since I didn't cover it on Monday. But on Tuesday, of course, we went over all the teams for this. And by that, I mean this. You can technically use the same ones that you used for the most part from the event as well. Most of them do overlap for this. However, we will be using just this black manacle build. We are restricted specifically to elves from Zolkiri, and that is what this is. This is basically a cast black manacle and win team. It's essentially the whole premise we have here. And Seekra, definitely a very, very strong troop. Spams a lot of purple, has a lot of potential for future builds going forward. I do feel like compared to Chalcedony, it might not get as much usage. Well, oh, I should have went for that. While purple is a slightly more used color, getting 4 times elf is actually kind of awkward on a lot of teams. The big issue with elves is there is definitely a lack of elves that can hit all enemies. Like, obviously, there's good elves that can do, like, Orbweaver does, where it, like, super hard hits 2 enemies and then gets a bunch of mana accumulation. That's really strong, but there aren't too many of them that can effectively quick win, which is a slight issue Chalcedony has, honestly, as well, where, like, it's super strong and has infinite loop potential, but it doesn't have that quick of a win, ultimately. I think that's the biggest thing kind of holding it back. Imagine getting this for dragons, though, with the 6-colored dragon. I'm really curious to see how that would pan out. That'd be so broken. The 6-colored dragon in combination with it all. That'd be really, really funny. That, or if we ever get it for, like, a really good extra turner. Like, something that can actually hit really hard off of extra turn. Like, imagine a goblin one. No, that'd be too strong. Imagine if the goblin one had auto extra turn on it, too. They would never do that. That'd be way too broken. Though they have started the introduction of non-100% extra turn goblins. They end up doing that, the previous goblin we ended up getting, if I'm not mistaken, which was, I believe, the first goblin that doesn't have a guaranteed extra turn chance. Like, a lot of them do. A lot of them have, like, either or thingies, but all of them pretty much had, like, that 100%. But one of the more recent ones, I think it was, like, 50% or whatever it was. I don't remember exactly. All I remember is it was useless, but it didn't have 100%, which is really strange, as it kind of broke the mold of, Goblin just always having it. Like, they always have it to some degree, but that was, like, the first one that doesn't, like, auto have it. Because they actually made a change to that in the past. When Goblins first came out, they did not all have extra turn. Most notably, probably the Goblin King, which was, like, the highest rarity of all the Goblins at one point, before Mythics existed. But it was weird because, you know, he didn't have extra turn. He eventually ended up getting it, as well as every other Goblin that didn't have extra turn. So they basically made it uniform, where, you know, every single Goblin always has extra turn. But they finally broke that mold pretty recently, not too long ago. Anyways, hello everyone. Hope all you guys been having a wonderful week. Let's start from the top. Hello, Bill. Hello, Ginky. Hello, Bill. I said Bill twice. I'm literally 3 names in, and I said Bill twice already. Hello, Lester. Hello, Roman. Hello, hello, Isabel. Hello, Ricardo. Hello, Bill. Other Bill. Hello, let's see, that one was deliberate. Hello, Mr. Jesse. Hello, Emanator. Hello, Maximus. Hello, Logic Slayer. Hello, Henry. Hello, Mr. Jesse. Hello, Sushi Ninja. Hello, Jonian. Hello, Supernova. Hello, who have I missed? Hello, Luann. Hello, it's YouTube Flames. Hello, Daddy Shark. Hello, everyone else. Welcome, 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 welcome. Okay, where were we? Let's go do this. But yeah, I always still do the class events for the 25 free gems. Is it worth it? It's basically just one tribute class. I would say kind of. Like, it's not a lot of loot. Like, in endgame, it's literally, like I just mentioned, one single tribute press, which you could end up doing in, like, under a minute. However, I don't know, still not bad. Like, if you compare it to, like, infinite farm methods for gems within the game, it's actually above the current quickest method, which is doing treasure hunt. That might not be the case once they buff treasure hunt, soon TM. There is a chance next patch buffs treasure hunt. I don't think it's been, like, fully confirmed, but based on its name, it seems exceedingly likely. That next patch is finally the treasure hunt is not useless patch. How much of a change will be is within question, because, you know, they did do the same thing for Arena. They did that for Arena like a year ago, and look at it now. Arena weekend event is the worst event in the entire game. So will they do the same with treasure hunt? Who knows? Where basically they buff it or buff it, and then, like, no one even does it still. Because that could easily happen to treasure hunt. I don't think it will. I don't think the same thing that ends up happening with Arena is going to happen with treasure hunt, but it could. Like, they could make some changes to it, thinking like, oh, this will improve it, and ultimately it does nothing. Which is pretty much what the treasure hunt rework did. Like, a lot of the things they did wasn't bad, but it didn't make it enticing enough to go from not doing Arena to doing Arena. Whereas it might be different for treasure hunt, where they actually do make it enticing enough to go from not doing treasure hunt to finally doing treasure hunt for, like, the first time in, like, 6 years. Because treasure hunt came in 7 years ago. It actually came in, I believe, within the first year of the game. It was the second minigame ever added to the game. First was Arena, then was treasure hunt. And that was before we had like a billion weekly events and everything else. And it was one of the bigger patches ever, kind of when Treasure Hunt came into the game. It was before traits existed too. But it was a pretty big deal when Treasure Hunt ended up coming in. It also kind of gave the idea like, oh, maybe they'll add more minigames into the future. And unfortunately, that was kind of like the last minigame they ever added to the game. I'm very curious if they're ever going to add more. Because it was the last minigame that plays differently than the rest of the game. Like Arena, while very similar to how the game played like when it first came out, is still different than a lot of areas within the game. Treasure Hunt is obviously drastically different, almost the exact inverse, because in normal gameplay, you want to set up as bad of a board as possible when you end your turn, whereas Treasure Hunt's actually the exact opposite, where you want to set as good of a board as possible when you end your turn so that you have more value for your following turn, because every turn is your turn. So you don't want to leave the board bad, you want to leave it in as good a state as possible. Whereas you want the opposite for normal gameplay, because if you leave it in a good state, well, then the enemy gets like full mana on their entire team, which is not good. But for Treasure Hunt, it's really good. So it's kind of weird since it plays so counter to the rest of the game. And I was always hoping they would add more like that. I'm actually surprised they never really did. Obviously, we've gotten other modes, like, you know, Underworld was pretty huge when that ended up coming in. But they haven't really done anything like Treasure Hunt since Treasure Hunt. There's been more modes, but nothing that is so drastically different like that mode. So it'll be interesting to see what they do when they revamp it. Because it might almost feel like a brand new mode again, if they do enough changes to it. Because the gameplay for Treasure Hunt has never changed. The gameplay of Treasure Hunt 7-8 years ago when it was first released is the same gameplay that it is now. The loot has slightly changed over time, but the actual gameplay has never been adjusted for Treasure Hunt. So I'm curious if they do a rework, if that will change in some way. One thing I've always kind of wanted for it was like one-time cast that you could do during a Treasure Hunt. And that like, similar to the game, maybe you get like 4 one-time casts that you can only ever use once to try to improve how well you do at a treasure map. Where it's like one could be like a shuffle, one could be like removal like of a smaller coin or something, like maybe bronze or even all 3 of the smaller coins. Not sure how broken that would be, but you know, depending on what they do to balance it and everything. But I don't know. We'll have to see and wait and see what they do. Because that was one thing that was always kind of weird about Treasure Hunt, is the game is really heavily based on, you know, casting 4 troops. And you do not get any casts during a Treasure Hunt. Like, there's no way that you can manipulate the board or anything like that. You just have to do just sheer movement on the board and nothing else. So it'd be cool if we ever got, like, some kind of option like that. That would diversify the gameplay a little bit more. And you'd have to think of, like, when it would be optimal to use it and everything. Because right now, you basically just take a bunch of moves and just keep doing that and doing that and doing that. Without much strategy beyond, because if you start getting, like, a bad board, there isn't really, like, much of a way to recover. Like, there's nothing you can basically do at that point. Treasure Hunt has gotten more turns. Yes, it has gotten more turns. Treasure Hunt, oh gosh, I'm not even sure what the full history is on the amount of turns you get for Treasure Hunt. Because it has changed so many times. I'm not even sure what the full arc of history is for that. As I'm pretty sure Treasure Hunt, over the course of the game, has had over a dozen different starting turn numbers. As far as what you could potentially have for how many turns you have at the start of battle. It's actually kind of insane. How many different times that has occurred. Because the pet ended up diversifying that by 3. The kingdom having a bunch, or, you know, the guild, ended up diversifying that by, what, 5? I think it was? I don't remember. But I believe it was about 5. Or 4 or 5. Not to mention the base number when the game first started. I don't remember what that even was. Like, before they started adding all the other bonuses and everything. I'm not sure if it was higher or lower than when the Guild War thing was around. I think it may have been 10? I'm not even sure. They have changed it a lot. Because now you can have, like, what, 18 turns, I think? As far as, like, how many turns you can have. Also, I love when this thing works. The buff that they did to that Shadow Blade, I actually do feel like is a buff. The rework that they did to Shadow Blade. Shadow Blade had an issue where it only got full mana when there was 13 plus purple. Generally, with him, this is actually kind of hard to do. Because if you have him on your team, or, you know, like a somewhat purple-oriented team, it's a lot more likely the enemy is going to deny your purple. And it's made him kind of awkward to use a lot of times, because maybe you'll get, like, full mana the very first turn, but then the subsequent turn you wouldn't. But now, even though he has a lower chance of extra turning when he's around, like, 13, 14, 15, his overall, or not extra turning, but, you know, getting his mana back, his overall viability is definitely better. Because you have a whole 60% chance at 10 to end up getting your mana back, which is almost 2 at 3. Technically, at 11 gems, it is literally a 2 in 3 chance to end up getting it. And that has definitely improved him quite a bit, as you don't have to wait for like that 13 threshold, which we would almost never get to in most battles he'd be using. Like right now, we only have 8. We literally have something that creates purple. We don't even have 8. We only have 8 right now. Even after this, we might not even have 13. Like right now, 12. If this was like pre-patch, like you wouldn't be able to double cast him. But now look, he got all his mana. He got all his mana. Okay, he didn't that time. But the first time he got all his mana, even though he wasn't at 13 condition. Oh, hello Tyrion. Hello Paul. Welcome, welcome. I said, hello Mythos. Hello. Who knows hello too? Let's see. You play Treasure Hunt before you'll play Arena. Honestly, I do like Treasure Hunt more than Arena. I feel like Treasure Hunt. I mean, I feel like Treasure Hunt has dated more better than Arena has. The weirdest, funniest thing about Arena though, is Arena basically plays like how Gems of War played back in like 2015, which is something I find kind of funny. Like at the lowest, it's really funny because at the lowest concurrent amount of players the game has ever had, like basically the state of the game, was basically how Arena plays right now. And I find it funny that they haven't revamped it more, kind of knowing that to some degree. Because the lowest player number that the game has ever had was, I believe, like summer of 2015, which was the summer after the game launched. And it's only kind of gone up from there. But that was basically what Arena plays like now. Like what the state of the game was at that point is basically like current Arena. And it's just really weird that they haven't like updated Arena to be more fun. Knowing that basically Arena plays just like the lowest peak concurrent the game has ever had way back when. Because I would say Gems of War for its first few years probably wasn't that popular until it started adding... I think the big turnaround for like the fun factor in Gems of War was when they actually started adding traits. Because it drastically diversified what troops could do. Because prior to traits in version 2.0, which I believe came late 2015 or early 2016 or somewhere around there, prior to then, every troop was basically the same. Like, you know, the only difference factor was their stats, which over time meant less and less because of how many base stats the game kept adding over time. But the stats and the ability were once the only gosh, I cannot say the word, differential between troops. Now you have a lot more factors. Every single troop with the 3 traits drastically opens up what each one can do. There are even troops to this day that are used pretty much entirely only because of what their trait setup is. Where you don't even necessarily cast them a single time, you literally just only use them for their traits. Pokemon actually had this issue too. I believe they added abilities, like in Gen 2 or Gen 3 or Gen 4, whatever it was. I think it was Gen 3. I don't remember exactly. But prior to then, like, a lot of Pokemon would just be the same because they had, you know, like, similar stat lines, similar abilities. Like, they might have, like, slightly different typings and slightly different, like, everything else there. But Gems of War basically had that same issue. And traits was actually a really good solution to it. And it really improved build diversity at the time. And still does to this day, obviously. Anyways, let's go clear our dungeons. Go. Aww. We haven't gotten even... Oh, no! Oh, no! Oh, no! I was gonna say, we haven't gotten a good dungeon run in a while. And that is a super anti-not-good dungeon run. Where's my cleanse team? Do I have one saved? I feel like I keep overwriting my dungeon cleanse team. I really need to stop doing that. Let's see, that's the Night Spider. That's Magnesia. Elder Dragon. That's the new Elder Dragon. Oh, yeah, we messed with that slightly. I never covered a team for him. Or, you know, we never covered the video. Yeah, I will be this weekend. But, I don't know, should we just run Elder Dragon for fun? We do have Cleanse. You know what, we're just gonna run Elder Dragon. Let's run the new Mythic that came out on Monday. Theoretically, this comes out next Monday, but it depends what pass you have. But, he is theoretically in the game right now. Alright, so we need an extra turn. Extra turn. Come into existence. Go. Let's see, I don't have Convert. Alright, we'll take a Skull. Do we have extra turn now? Yes, we do. Okay, we'll take it that way. Get cleansed. We do not have alignment. We don't have that much mana because the how the mana ended up getting distributed there. Let's take the Skull. Actually, we can take both. Go for Explosion. Actually, do we have alignment? No, gosh, where's all the alignment at? Well, let's go clear the whole board. And we should be able to start our loop here. So we'll do that. And now we go for this. Ooh, a bit of a miss. we're about to get a billion curses onto the enemy team. Alright, don't miss, don't miss. Yeah, there we go. Now Beatrix, carry a little bit more mana. No, Beatrix, how were you the one who missed? Don't do it. But yeah, one thing that's very noteworthy about this Mythic that a lot of troops are starting to have an issue with now that we're starting to get a lot of other gem types is this troop has the... It's creating the power gem, not the color issue, which is starting to become more and more of an issue as we get more power gems. And basically, how power gems currently work, which might change in the future, but hopefully it does, because it is a huge nerf to a lot of potential troops. But the way that power gems currently work is they can overwrite the same color gem. So if we create a brown power gem, which we are right now, they can overwrite brown gems that are already existing on the board. This drastically reduces the extra turn chance potential on any troop that has this. Like, it's something that creates like 10 brown, compared to something that creates 10 brown power gems, in this case, you know, like the curse gems, are always going to be way, way, way weaker. And this is one issue that this Mythic has, where in premise, it would actually be like absurdly strong. But the fact that it does curse gems, while this is useful for it having its own effect to be able to go looping, it drastically reduces its extra turn chance, which is the biggest detriment to it overall. Also, I cannot go for the extra turn there. You know, I was going to take a brown. Hope that's enough. Like right here, if we were creating 13 brown, or this first one's only going to be 9. But let's say we were creating even just 9 brown. We would probably extra turn on that turn. But the fact that some of them overrid some of the already existing browns, definitely way lower chance of hitting it. And that's the biggest downside that normally comes with it. It's normally enough that it still functions, though. But at a cost of its true potential. Alright, oh, do we have alignment here? I feel like we can get it. Do we have anything good here? This board looks like we have alignment in like 1,000 different ways, and I don't see a single one. Because green and brown is somehow not an extra turn on this board. How, I do not know. Red somehow has 0 extra turns despite it being half the board. Like, half the board is red and brown almost. And I don't see a single extra turn. There has to be one. I have to just not be seeing it. There is no way brown and or red has no extra turn on this entire board with how many there is. It sure seems like there should be. I'm not seeing one, though. It's actually kind of insane. Not even like brown convert into the red chance. Well, we'll clear the board. It's actually amazing that that board had no way. Unless there was something really obvious there I did not see. But yeah, one funny thing about the new Mythic. Look at their magic values. I feel like this is like a slight... It falls in a really weird category, this Mythic. Like, it has a pseudo loop. It has 4 times curse. It has one of the best magic reductions in the entire game, or among one of the best few. As far as consistent ones, is among one of the best. Yet, it's in a really weird position. Where it's good, but will almost probably never get used. Just because how often do you really want to go eliminate all the enemy's magic compared to webbing them? Because more often than not, you would just get more value from any 4 times web build than if you try to go all the way to reducing them down to 0 magic. Of course, this is not applicable to when they have immune. It is possible to have immune to web, in which case you would have to either, you know, like curse stun them or just curse them and then, you know, kind of go from there. But there's a lot of instances where like going directly for the magic reduction can, in theory, work. Because they have other immunities that would kind of prevent their magic from going down. But you can still reduce the actual stat. There's one thing I'm actually curious if they're ever going to add. Because this will hard nerf a lot of options in the game that are already kind of bad. But there is currently no way to stop a spell reduction. Or, you know, a stat reduction. Like, there's no way to... Well, that's not true. If you're entangled, you can't lose attack. And if you're webbed, you can't lose magic. But aside from that, there is always a way to reduce HP and armor with no way around it. I'm curious if they're ever going to add a counterplay to that. Because you know what the biggest thing that would actually get nerfed if they did that? It's one you might not think about because it's just such a part of the weapon, but it doesn't seem like it's like actually part of it to a degree. And that is all the armor tier weapons. All the armor tier weapons actually do count as stat reduction. So if they ever added a immune to stat reduction, it would drastically nerf Rope Dart, Mang, and stuff that's been absurdly strong for a very, very long time. So be curious to see exactly how that would pan out. Because it's not off the table that they would eventually add a stat reduction immunity. One does not exist. It's actually, I think, the only immunity in the entire game that doesn't exist, for the most part. Because I can't think of anything else that doesn't have immune. You could theoretically make it immune by entangling yourself or webbing yourself for attack and magic, respectively. But aside from that, there's no, like, direct immunity to stat reduction. And the only immunity there is, you have to have 0 of that stat for the duration of which you have immune. Anyways, so dungeon done. In a bit of a weird way, but figured we use the team, because why not? It's meant more for Explore 12 and stuff. But overall, most of what I've been seeing with, like, using this dragon doesn't seem worth using. Like, it seems like a really good troop, but it just doesn't... It's just not consistent enough. Like, there are those battles where just infinite loops, you reduce the entire enemy team to 0 magic and all that. But, I don't know. It's just kind of clunky because Curse, of course, can apply to your own team. So in any team that you're using it, you're probably going to be cursed yourself. So if they have Elementalists, you're going to get, you know, hit by every stats effect. Unless you're using the things that have, like, the true immunities, like, you know, even immune to Curse. But there are so few troops that have that. It can end up looping, but it's not as consistent as other loops because you're creating Curse gems, not brown. I don't know, it's just in a really weird position. It has a Madness Storm that doesn't even need. Normally want to override it with Brown Storm. Its magic reduction is insanely good, but how often do you really want that compared to just web? Or even just not running any magic reduction at all and just winning quicker? Anyways, so, we did class event, right? Yeah, we already did class. We already claimed the loot from it. We did that, we did that. I guess we'll go get our crowns real quick, and then we'll probably do Vault for the rest of the time. Like, open like 50, 100 Vault keys. Anyways, let's go get our crowns, because we can't do that over there. Where's my crown farming team? There it is. Good old Ironhawk. Oh, sorry, I missed... yeah, I'm missing a couple things, sorry. I was just kind of ranting for a moment. My bad. Let me go up and chat a little bit. Also, hello, Tyrion. Hello, Paul. Hello, Mythos. Wait, why is it... I hate when it does that. Why is it not scrolling the other thing? 1 second. I'm trying to get this... There we go. Mythos from Puzzle Quest 3 here. Please help out the Puzzle Quest 3 guild today with some Kingdom Bazaar purchases. Oh wait, am I still actually in the Puzzle Quest 3 guild? That's kind of funny. Wait, have we still not been kicked from it? Isabel, if you need, you can kick my account. And just get us back in later if we really need to. Because I have not played it in months upon months. I do plan on eventually revisiting it, like Puzzle Quest 3. But for the most part, you know, I haven't been playing it at all. It is a pretty daily system-based game. I didn't even realize I was still even in the guild. Like, it is still technically like our guild, though Isabel and I believe Cookie mostly run it. Also, isn't the reset already over? Because I thought that game resets at like 7 or 8 o'clock. That would have been 30 minutes ago. Unless they changed what reset time was. But I'm pretty sure they did that at 0 GMT, didn't they? Which in my time I think is 7 PM. The reset is so strange for Puzzle Quest 3, is it? Oh, does it have like a lingering reset where like... Because I know Gems of War has that for like the first 15 minutes. Where like, it's past reset time, but it hasn't fully reset. It's one of the reasons why if you look at the guild menu on a Monday, on a Guild War week, sometimes it's all glitched. Because it doesn't actually happen until like 15 minutes to 30 minutes after the fact. Even though the main reset already occurred. But I think it's been almost a year now since I played Puzzle Quest 3, I think. When did I stop playing? I don't remember. I think it's been about a year. I did enjoy my time with the game. We played it for over 1,000 hours within a year. And then kind of just got burnt out on it. The two biggest issues I would say with that game is how they monetized it and the daily system. Unless they've changed it, the daily system takes like 2 to 3 hours in that game. It is absurdly high. I think every game I do the daily system for combined takes less time than the total time just to do Puzzle Quest 3. Yeah, there's a lot to do on the daily system for Puzzle Quest 3. I'm not sure why they made it so bloated. Like, the daily system for that game is like the weekly system for an average game. It's kind of insane. And I'm surprised they haven't done adjustments to it over time. Well, like, they probably have, but even if they have, it's still going to take forever. Because I feel like Gems of War does a pretty nice balance of it. Like, if you play Gems of War for like 15 minutes to 30 minutes per day, like, you're pretty much good to go. You don't even need much more than that. With the one exception being if you want to go do like underworld factions each day. Because that alone can take 30 minutes, and you normally do as you're progressing through the game. But even then, there's only like an hour per day then total. Because I do skip that. There's also another daily of Arena, but almost everyone skips that since the loot's just not that good. I think it's by that way by design, so it doesn't feel needed. That is like an optional thing if you have spare time. Speaking of which, Arena event's starting tomorrow. The only thing extra you get are a few little loots here and there. Yeah, Crowns adds about 10 minutes per day for 35 days. Which is a bit of an extra grind, but it's not that bad. It's actually closer to 8 minutes. The average of all of our times have come out to 8 minutes. The only reason I normally say 10 is because I also assume newer players might have a slightly slower build than running double Ironhawk. Because if you're running Rowan, I think it might be closer to 10 minutes. But I always time it based on this team, which is a bit quicker than Rowan. Though not too much so whenever we find the Crown Thing, because the Crown Thing actually survives with 20% extra stats this week. It doesn't actually die to 25 damage, as we saw in that other battle. Hey, we gained a level! Look, we're level 1,800 finally. See, level 1... Oh, wait, that's not my hero. We can see it at the end of this next battle. See, 1,800. There's a 1 and an 8 there. I'm not sure where the zeros went, though. Yeah, if you normally do Explore on a given day, you can actually get crowns done without going out of your way at all. Like, if you do 30 minutes or an hour of Explore, or, you know, like Explore 12 in a given day, you would get the crowns done without going out of your way. We actually get it done on Mondays without going out of our way. The Monday tasks, or which are supposed to be the weekly tasks, but, you know, we do it in like 30 minutes. Doing those tasks generally cover the entirety of all crowns. Not always, but normally they do. Or at least a lot of them, if not all of them. I haven't been playing as much Explore 12 lately, though. Mostly because we've been trying to whittle down our Volkey stack the last month. Because ever since they updated orbs, we've just been slowly chipping at the thousands of keys we had. And we still have a lot. We still have like 2,000 something. Not to mention the next Vault event. We're probably going to try grinding for 1,000. Oh, excuse me. Try grinding for 1,000. Also, once we get all the crowns, we'll go ahead and add a redeem code. And the rest of the time, we'll probably do Volt. See if we get any juicy loot. I really need more of the major orbs of glory. It's a 2% chance. Because that's the main thing that allows you to fully max a Mythic. Otherwise, we're only going to have it to like bronze or silver. And there's a few we definitely have to do, like Diamantia when we can finally get it and stuff like that. You're gonna grind to your Karai next Vault event. Yeah, that's generally how Vault events go. One of the most optimal ways to play Gems of War is, like, barely play and just do bare minimum every single day. Then when a Vault event comes around, spend every single second you have doing Vault event. which might sound like a weird way to play, but from a currency perspective, if you played for 2 hours every day, or played for 30 minutes every day, but you played Vault Event for 30 hours, the person who plays for like 30 minutes every day and does Vault Event for 30 hours would have more progress than someone who plays for like 2 hours per day and plays Vault Event for like 6 hours. Or, you know, their standard like 2 hours per day. But if you just put all that time in like a Vault Event weekend, it pays out like 10 times what you would normally get. Or it's like a hard ratio to really calculate though. Because you just get a lot of really big loot. Some that you wouldn't even normally be able to farm for properly. Between keys, the new Dragonite ore, we'll be able to get that. We'll be able to get a billion Vault keys, which of course gives orbs and gems and keys and other things. You finally got your first Nisha badge? Nice. Yeah, you do eventually need to grind for 3 Nisha medals. This does take a while, though I would say it's worth it. Though most builds only use 2 Nisha medals, you do eventually need to get a 3rd. Luckily, you don't actually need to get more than 3 in the current state of the game now. Because once you have 3, you can do the rest off of Orbs of Glory. While Nishas are still useful, you theoretically only need 3 of them now, compared to before. You want the journey achievement, but it's a grind and a half. Yeah, it is a bit of a grind. I think you have to play the event for roughly 8 hours? 6 hours? It's like 6 to 8 hours plus 2,000 to 300,000 gems or so. So it could definitely add up. Though, if you just keep spamming that archer thing, you're gonna get so much purple and just kind of win from there. You have 2 Nisha medals, only need 1 more. Nice. Yeah, a lot of builds, you can actually only need 2 for. You can go like 20% into 8 magic. Because very rarely do you actually need 12 magic. The only time you would ever actually need that is if you need it for kill range. Because, like in Guild War, because you know preemptively you calculate it out and you know you're going to need that 4 extra damage in order to cover, like maybe Weaver getting its kill by second cast or something similar. That's one instance that you would use it. The other instance is if your team already has a 50% mana start. You don't need a 20% mana start because mana starts do not stack. It only takes the highest mana start you have. So if you already have a higher one across your entire team, you don't need 20%. So 3 Nishas are eventually needed, but like 80% of the time I feel like you can get away with just 2 Nisha. Yeah, getting the first badge is definitely a big first step. Feels nice finally being able to get the full 4 magic from it as well. Because then you can run like a mixed build of like 20% mana start into 4 to all stats. Because if you use a season with a Nisha, it gives you 4 to everything. Because seasons does the other 3 stats, and of course Nisha does magic. Though seasons is probably one of the better medals to be using as you're progressing through the game. They're really easy to obtain through world events, though we don't have a world event this week. It's one of the rare situations where we have a journey event instead. But generally speaking, it is really easy to obtain the season medals, and it is set like 2 seasons, 3 seasons, for 8 to all stats, 12 to all stats, not counting magic. Yeah, Diamantia would probably use 3 Nisha as well, because you would already have 50% mana start off of the dragon. So how are we doing on crowns? I feel like we did them already. Yeah, no wonder why. I'm like, wait, where'd all the crowns go? Because we got them all. Oh, nice. Imperial. That's a nice little triple right there. 50 gems with, oh, technically it's not that 50 gems, it's these 50 gems, but 50 gems with a, with an Imperial and some, the Green Deed book. I didn't even realize they actually put some gems on the free side. Oh, it's kind of clumped up. It's not that many. It's 50 there, 50 there. Right, there's 100 gems on the free side. Which is only enough to skip one tier. The tier skipping is way overpriced for this mode. I feel like it is in most games. I can't think of a single game where I would consider the tier skipping method that they have to be good. I can't think of a single free-to-play game that has like a tier skip method that I ever used. It always seems either overpriced or use too much of the in-game currency. And Gems of War is actually no different. Unless you had to do it in a pinch, because, you know, it's like the last few days and you were missing like several tiers and you just want to get it done. So you get all the rewards. Like, that's one of the only situations where it seems like kind of worth it. Anyways, let's go ahead to the code and then we'll go mess with opening some vault keys. We'll do probably like 50. We'll go for 50. Get it to a nice 00 number. Also, hello, Big Chris. Welcome. Let's see. You got today 4 Dragonite Gnomes, a perfect dungeon run, 4 verse 4s, and you crafted an egg and got the new dragon, no duplicates. Nice. I still need to find that brown dragon. It's lurking out there somewheres. It's out there somewheres. But there you guys go. Enjoy. There's a redeem code. Use it on gemsofwar.com for the game code section. Your invite code can be found in your settings menu. Redeem code is right over there in chat. It's got paste random numbers and letters. Starting with Fave, F-A-V. And again, same rewards as always. 2 treasure maps, 1 gem key, 200 souls, and 2,500 gold. And definitely feel free to leave a like on the stream. Helps a lot and is greatly appreciated. Anyways, I think we're doing vaults for the rest of the time. Let's go do like 50 vaults. That'll bring us down to 2,200. Slowly but surely, we shall whittle down the stack. Where's my Phoenicia team? Roll that. You got another power orb today. You need 4 more. Nice. Well, we're going to be getting another one next week. Or technically 2 weeks from now. Next week, we have our 3rd ever holiday event with the new format. And every single time that comes around, there is a power orb. I'm not sure if they're going to change that in the future, but as it currently stands, every holiday event will have a power orb now that you can obtain for pretty cheap. Only like a couple hundred gems in theory. Technically even for free if you only go for that, though you generally want to go for the other rewards more so. But it only costs like 700, 800 for everything, including power. But yeah, this will be the 3rd time you can end up getting one like that. And we know we're going to be getting some more soon. We don't know if we're going to be getting one for Valentine's Day, but we're definitely going to get one for Easter, which will be in April, March? When's Easter? One of those two. And the next one we already know is next week. Or next 2 weeks, technically. Not this week, but the following 2 weeks. I'll catch you later, Clip Bomb. Thanks for stopping by. Let's see if we can get at least 1 good orb tonight. Oh, did Chris find one the other day? Nice. Yeah, we found one yesterday on stream, a power orb. Unfortunately, it wasn't useful, but we found one. It was actually the only good drop we got yesterday, that and a small orb of glory. And at the bottom of the screen is just the 4 new ones. Why do I keep track of all of them? I have no clue. But that is every orb we've gotten in the last month since the new format. As far as the 4 new ones. It does not break down for rarity, though. Just the total number. Oh, orb of forging. Let's see. Where's my text? There it is. Oh, so we almost have all the Doom weapons max. I think I need like 15 more major orbs of forging and we'll be good to go. And by then, all the small ones would also cover the rest of those little gaps in there. Yeah, we're getting close to maxing all Doom weapons. I'm curious if the next Doom weapon category is going to be actually good. There's a chance it's awful. But there's also a chance it's very useful. We'll find out soon. Well, not too soon. I think it'll be by summer we'll know what the new weapon type is for Dooms. They have not added a good Doom weapon in a couple years now. They started strong and then kept doing weak ones. The strongest ones we've got as of recently were the Cursebreaker weapons. These actually came in last year's December. And by last year, I mean 2021, not 2022. So like a year and a month ago. We ended up getting the Cursebreaker weapons. That was the big last raw patch of the previous year. Not the most recent year, that was the orb change. But the year before then, we got like a Soulforge rework. And with it, they added the 6 Doom Cursebreaker weapons. And honestly, they're not that bad. They initially seemed kind of bad, but having them fully max, they're usable. I think the biggest issue with the Cursebreaker weapons is all 6 of them do something drastically different. So unlike other weapon categories, it's hard to rank them in the sense that, unlike every other weapon type, they are all basically the same tier. Like, for example, all 6 of the books are basically just as strong. All 6 of, like, the Doom Scroll converting ones that does, like, AoE damage are just as strong. The weird thing about the Cursebreaker weapons is all 6 of them do something different. Like, the way they apply damage is different. The effects that they ultimately do, like the 4 times Curse, the 4 times Bless, all of that, is, like, the same. It does it based on the color versus the other color and all that. But the actual way that it applies damage is different for all 6, making it quite a bit different than any other category of Doom weapon. Because every other Doom weapon, like, it does its unique thing for its color, but the type of what it does is the same across all 6. Like, if one's doing some damage to all enemies, the other one does damage to all enemies. But, the Cursebreakers are different. Because one does, like, heavy or normal splash, one does, like, double poke, one does, like, split damage or something, which is probably the worst one, probably. One does something else, I don't remember what all their mechanics were. But they're all drastically different from each other. I mean, you can't just, like, put them all in one, just, like, cookie cutter category. As one color's viability is drastically different than a different color's viability. You're gonna dislike the stream until we're level 1,800? Well, it's gonna be a while. It'll be like another month until we're level 1,800. That or 2 Vault events from now. Though they need to actually add Vault events to the game for us to be able to grind Vault events. And this is one of the longer times we've had for a while without having a Vault event. Not the longest time we've ever had without one, but we're getting up there in time. I think it was mostly due to the holidays. Also in combination partly because of when the events fell. Because I think there's an event they don't want to coincide it with. I think it's the Kingdom event, where they don't want a Vault event necessarily happening during Kingdom event. So end up making it go very weird, where we're going like a super long duration without a Vault event. Because I'm pretty sure the 2 of them might mess each other up. They kind of do, they kind of don't. They do in the sense that your first 10 drops are going to be, well, not your first 10, but, you know, like 10 of your drops are going to be replaced by crowns, rather than what would have been gnome drops, potentially. So I guess that's one of the main reasons they don't like doing it coinciding with each other. As you do get less value, not much less, but if you're playing for a short duration, you get a lot less value during a crown event, or, you know, a Kingdom Pass event, than not during Kingdom Pass event, so maybe that was their logic with it. Because if you were only playing for like 30 minutes or so, it would block a lot of your loot if you had a Vault event during when crowns are available. Though if you're doing it for like 10 hours, it would make almost no difference on your loot. Because it only would for the first like 20-ish minutes, not even. Technically your first 10 minutes. And then everything beyond that would still be the same. Also, hopefully I can get the Mythic tier list out tomorrow. Not for sure if I will be able to, but I want to try to. We don't have anything else to cover for tomorrow. And the video on the Mythic I want to do this weekend. Either Saturday or Sunday. Because I've been meaning to cover that Mythic tier list for like 2 weeks now. Almost 3 weeks now. The one nice thing at this point is every Mythic in the tier list is actually in the game now. If I would have covered it a couple weeks ago, there would have been 2 that weren't in the game. Because the one that came in the first week... Oh yeah, by the way, last day to get Aquaticus, by the way. Because it would have not included Aquaria. Or sorry, why does it keep saying Aquaticus? I mean Aquaria and the other dragon. Because those 2 theoretically weren't in the game until this week. Because we have this little dragon, which will be in it, and of course Aquaria. which, yeah, lasts several hours to get Aquaria, by the way. It doesn't have a timer, but its actual timer is 5 hours. Well, actually, 5 hours and 7 minutes you have to still get Aquaria. Or more so, 5 hours and 7 minutes until you can open keys that don't have Aquaria. Or at least don't have guarantee Aquaria. Which means it'll be safe to open keys again. Anyways, what am I looking for? I'm looking for Volt. How many more Volt keys do we have? We have 27. Let's keep going. Also, no good drops tonight. Also, hello, Dwight. Welcome, welcome. Have really good logic to adjust the game for people who barely play. Well, no, they do have to account for that. They have mentioned it in the past, so this was pretty old data. Like, way old, like about 5 years ago. Though there was, at one point, it's actually what their, what the battle system is kind of, based on. Like, do you ever wonder why the daily objective, though we have a bigger one today, but do you ever wonder why the default daily objective is, like, kill 100 troops? They actually had data where it was, like, I think it was 23 battles or something? That the average player plays, like, 23 battles per day. So they end up making the daily system take, what is essentially 25 battles. To make it pretty much, like, almost right at that average. And by daily system, I mean the, you know, when you get to 20 gems per day. So there are people that play, quite a bit less. Like, 25 battles is not a lot of battles. Especially if you're winning, like, multiple times per minute. Because that's in theory under 10 minutes. It depends what kind of battles you're doing, of course. Hey, we have all 2 keys. 2,222, that's funny. Well, now we don't. But it was. Unless we get a key from this, that would be funny. Let's see, we'll take that over. It depends what percentage of players is casual. Oh yeah, YouTube's policy of not being able to swear within the first several seconds. Honestly, I've been seeing a lot of like drama videos on like, oh no, YouTube is gonna be dead because of this and all this other stuff. And here I am, never cursing ever, being like, wait, these changes do nothing. But I haven't actually really watched too many of them, but I feel like a lot of them are overreacting. By a lot. Though for me, it's like absurdly easy to not curse. Especially with not doing it within the first 20 seconds. Or even in the video at all. Or even ever. No, we didn't even curse in the After Dark stream. I don't even curse a lot of times when text on screen literally has curses. I like try to word around it. Because I played a game one of my friends made on our birthday, just for the fun of it, because we were doing a bit of variety stuff. So November 4th, we were like, you know, playing a couple different games. We actually played Sims 4 that day. First time I played Sims 4, it was okay. Obviously without any DLC, just like really bare bones. But anyways, like one of my friends, like some of the dialogue had curses in it. So I was like reading the dialogue like safe for work without any of the cursing. Even though on screen it was showing the text for it. I don't know, the worst thing I ever talk about is maybe like some sexual stuff, like ever so very rarely. Like absurdly rare. And I'm pretty sure it's because of Lester. Also, thank you for the $5 tip, Dwight. Greatly appreciated. Since you are going to lose money because you cuss so much, according to Genki, here's $5. Well, thank you for that. Definitely helps out a lot. Everyone's generosity definitely helps out. I have been making less money on YouTube lately. Though, of course, it isn't because we've been cursing. But just in general. I feel like a lot of gaming channels has been having that issue. Where the concentration of gaming channels just keeps going up and up and up. So every individual gaming channel, for the most part, unless you're like a super mega like YouTube channel, is making less money now. Between like ad revenue paying out a little less, and just more channels existing, which means each channel, you know, can have less retention time in a sense. Unless someone has like 5 different videos going at once. As more different people come in, you know, kind of spreads it out a little. Since last January, it's been going down, yeah. Yeah, the whole last year went down quite a bit, yeah. It's not just affecting me, it's affecting pretty much everyone. Particularly in gaming spaces. Though even just in general on YouTube. Because unless you've cornered, like, an entire market in some way, shape, or form, like, pretty much everyone else has gone down. Or if you're a channel that's kind of good at making, like, super viral videos. Like, stuff like that never goes down. But stuff like that isn't, like, easy to do. Let's see. Also, most channels aren't geared to trying to make content like that either. And for every one that is successful, you'll see, like, 99 other channels that are, like, trying to do it and then fail. Because I've seen some, like, ultra-edited videos under 1,000 views that... if you didn't have the viewer number context, you would assume, like, oh, this was probably posted by, like, some big channel that has, like, you know, millions of views per video. And you look at the video, it's like, oh, this has 300 views. But if you, like, didn't know, like, the subscriber count or, like, anything else, you would think it was, like, you know, on some kind of gigantic channel. But just, like, very well edited, trying to be viral, but then fails at doing so. Sometimes it still cracks through the algorithm and you find it. It's funny coming across a video like that, because it's like made to go viral and do super good, but you then see the numbers and it's like, well, they tried. Like, they tried really hard to make it work, but it just failed. It's one of the reasons I haven't really felt like ever making like super ultra edited videos. Because you put a lot of time into it, and very rarely does it actually pay out on the time. Unless you get lucky. You feel bad for the D&D videos, they're gonna lose so much money. Why, is there a lot of cursing in D&D? I feel like there wouldn't be. Though it depends what your friend group is when you're playing D&D. I know some of my friends curse. Like, I don't really care. Like, I don't curse, but, you know, if they want to. Doesn't really matter. I also have a lot of friends that like to drink. Yeah, I never drink. Though I feel like I would never have friends who would smoke a lot. Because I have asthma, so I can never be around smoke. So it's like the one deal breaker. They can drink, they can curse, but smoking is where I draw the line. Also, I do find it weird who's people who almost have like a personality type, where their personality is like 420. Because there are people that are like that. And I'm pretty sure most of you know who they are. I'm pretty sure it's a lot more common around my age group than necessarily some of you. Because I know a lot of you are like in your 40s or so. I feel like on the lower end, there are like literally people whose personality is, oh yeah, 420. And maybe like music and a few other things. Your first gem dragon was the red one because the Dragonite from the Gnome Dragons on Switch, of course. Oh, nice. Congrats. Finally got your first dragon on Nintendo Switch. Oh, there we go. We use the 50 keys. Or 2,200. Yeah, tribute's ready. Makes sense. It's been an hour. Anyways, guys, anyone else have any other questions? Hey, look at that. We just got all the gems pretty much that we did from the class event, gosh. Tribute is so strong in the current state of the game. But anyways, guys, I'm going to be heading out for now. We will be back tomorrow night, same time as always, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 1 hour prior to now tomorrow. Game plan tomorrow is... I guess we do some arena? We might actually do the arena event this weekend. We'll see. Because there's not really too much else going on in Gems of War, so you know what? We might do the entirety of the arena event. And what I mean by doing the entirety of the arena event, that generally means playing until you get the orb, which requires, I believe, 14 arena runs. So you do your 3 dailies across the days, which covers 9, then you have to do like 5 extra. And doing that gives you the orb, 3 gem keys, 2 event keys, half of a scroll in writs, and 10 diamonds, I believe. So not like super good loot. We also get 9 rolls on like the arena thingy, so maybe sometimes you'll occasionally get like an Imperial or something for slightly cheaper. But anyways, guys, thanks for stopping by. Enjoy your weekend. Catch you guys soon, and thanks for stopping by. Also, thank you, Dwight, for the $5 tip. Greatly, greatly appreciated. Helps out a lot. And I'll catch you guys later. Bye, everyone.